Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Fifth Quarter. I'm Mike Ciarochi, sports editor of the Herald-Standard.com, and I'm joined as always by George Von Benko, author of Memory Lane and a radio personality at WMBS here in Uniontown. We are here today, George, to talk about the Steelers. I guess we would call it less than scintillating, 17-13.
They didn't get a lot of style points for that win,
No.
but a win is a win. But it was a great cure for insomnia in the second half. They almost put everybody to sleep with the offense they had. But that's another perfect example of why I always tell you, watch, don't bet.
Mm-hmm.
Because what were they, 12 or 11
Yeah,
point?
it was double digit, I know that.
Yeah.
And they certainly did not cover. I can
No.
guarantee you that.
But it was a tough day.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like they were going to blow them out of the ballpark.
Well, you know what? 315 yards in the first half. At one point, 17-0 lead became 17-3 at the break. It looked like they were just on cruise control. In the second half, it looked like they played as though they were on cruise control. They didn't really keep the foot on the, they didn't really go for the jugular or the knockout punch or whatever.
It was almost like they pushed the snooze alarm, went back to sleep there.
Couple
I think one of the turning points in the game, there were a couple of them, but one of the real big ones was when Mendenhall had the big run, got them down inside the 5.
First and goal at the 2.
And they don't punch it in, they settle for a field goal. I think if they would have scored and gone up 21-0, I think Jacksonville may have slunk away into the night.
They could have sleptwalked through the second half.
But it sort of gave them some hope right there. And then we had the botched block punt, which led to a set because they were off the field. They were, 17 play drive.
Not coincidentally, I have the play-by-play turn to the third quarter, and I'm looking right here at a drive that ended up being 17 plays, 80 yards, took 9:35 off the clock, and ended in a touchdown that made the score 17-10. That play, I mean, if you want to go for the block, go for the block, but you got to get the ball.
Yeah, you got to get the ball. And I realized there were some people that wondered, the punter he saw him coming, I think, he tried to rush it, and he shanked it. They did not. Every replay I saw, they didn't touch it.
Wasn't touched, no.
Yeah.
But, hey, still goes in the books as a win for the Steelers. They're sitting at 4-2, ready to head out to the desert to take on former coordinator Ken Wisenhunt's Arizona Cardinals, Larry Fitzgerald and all the guys out there. But getting back to this game, there were, I mean, above and beyond the win, there were plenty of positives, in my opinion. Rashard Mendenhall seems to have
took him off the side of a milk carton. He showed up, and he played well. He had the one big run. Roethlisberger had another 200-yard game, although I'm hard-pressed to explain what was going on in the second half. One pass completion for 19 yards to Heinz Ward early.
The last pass completion of the game for the Steelers, let me get the time here, it's just incredible. The play started with 13:36 to go in the third quarter, so there's 15 minutes in the fourth quarter and say roughly 13 minutes of the third quarter. That's 28 minutes without a completed pass.
That's hard to fathom.
It is.
It really is hard to fathom.
And a couple of things conspired to make that a reality. One, they talked about the wind after the game. Both Mike Wallace and Ben Roethlisberger, I know, mentioned that the wind picked up in the second half. And Ben, of course, and Mike Wallace as well, neither one of them wanted that to be an excuse. It's something that and Roethlisberger said, hey, that's on me. I gotta learn to adjust, try to fire the ball into the wind, through the wind instead of over it. You put less air under the ball. But the other part of it was the Jacksonville defense was kind of basically playing a mirror opposite of what Tennessee did a week earlier. Instead of giving the short passing game, they took that away and forced the Steelers to go deep.
Right, and unfortunately for Ben, they left quite a few plays on the field. There were at least 2 plays that I recall that he completely overthrew a wide open Emmanuel Sanders.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, he overthrew. He was non-discriminatory. He overthrew Heath Miller down the sideline at least once. Overthrew Mike Wallace at least once. Probably Heinz Ward was in that mix as
He
well.
missed me. I was wide open too, but
But you were sleeping. It was the second half.
that was a long throw for him though up to the press box, you know. But
Especially with the win.
We're talking about positives. I did like some of the things that happened defensively.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
the
good
beard,
pressure.
fear the beard.
Yeah.
Brett
yeah.
Kiesel,
Well,
was good to
5
see
sacks.
him have a good game.
Yeah, it was. He had two of the Steelers 5 sacks. Lamar Woodley, I believe, had 2 sacks. And I guess I'll have to look and see who had the 5th sack. Would be James Ferrier. Yeah, how could I
Who
forget
also,
the
Botsy
other-
had 11
yeah.
tackles.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good game for him.
Yeah.
You know, there has to be a little bit of angst, I guess, mixed in with the victory celebration. Injuries again are springing up. We don't know.
A dislocated toe of some sort.
Of some sort for Bronco.
We're still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah. But the real concern, at least to me, at this point,
Polamalu.
is Polamalu. Another concussion. Like, you know, they don't say right out that it's a concussion. They just said he experienced concussion-like symptoms. They will monitor.
And that's going to be a story that's going to unfold the whole week because he'll say something about it tomorrow, but they don't start practicing till Wednesday.
Right, and
You know.
and we in the Pittsburgh area know a whole lot about the concussion tests and all that, and the fact that you have to go through rigorous activity without a recurring headache in order to be cleared and ready to go for the following.
Well, Pittsburgh does know a lot about concussions, more than we want to know because of the Sidney Crosby saga that has been going on all along. But I thought Kiesel played well. I thought Woodley played well. There were some good things defensively. I really liked some of the things. They actually had won the battle and were off the field, and the block punt led to the 17-play drive. I thought it was interesting if you heard some of the post-game shows. They were giving the one station was say pick your 3 stars. Well, people were picking Kiesel and Woodley and people like that, but you know who got a lot of votes?
Jack Del Rio.
And I'd like to see that segment. What was he doing on the one segment when they got down in the territory when he had to call the timeout? Then he doesn't have his best player in the game. I mean, I'm sitting there like, what are you doing? You know?
Was that when they kicked the field goal? I think they called the timeout.
Yeah, they kicked the field goal. They called the timeout.
4:22 to go.
And he doesn't have Maurice Jones-Drew in there.
No.
He has Kareem in there.
Kareem.
It just made me sit there and say, what was the thinking behind that?
Yeah. Maybe Maurice Jones-Drew was tired. He saw a lot of action, but hey,
and he's as good as he is built. He's a pretty good running back.
Oh yeah, he is. He's an excellent running back. He's a good receiver out of the backfield. Although they didn't throw to him a whole lot, I don't believe, yesterday. But a 3rd and 4 play, you're down by 7 points at the time. 3rd and 4 play.
Yeah,
that's a makeable third down. You know. With Maurice Jones-Drew.
With Maurice Jones-Drew.
Now with Kareem in there, I'm not so sure that it was.
Well, and the Steelers to a man afterwards said that they saw that coming. They ran a stretch play, and everybody on the Steeler defense knew that that's what they're. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, so they had it scouted out pretty well. You know, speaking of throwing the backs. We were talking about the Steelers' problems offensively. Wouldn't you once in a while like to see them throw a pass to a back out of the backfield?
Yeah, you know what? That's in the repertoire. It's
well, especially if the wind was such a problem in the second half. That's an easier pass.
Yeah. You know, Mewaldy Moore was not available.
Right.
He's probably your best receiver out of the backfield. Isaac Redmond did have a catch out of the backfield, but they used that. I guess bubble screen, is that what you would call that?
Yeah.
They use that in situations. It's and I don't want to start quoting Coach Tomlin too much, but situational football is one of his favorite phrases. And perhaps the situation didn't present itself.
It might not have, but
you know, a week earlier, and I don't have the stats from the Tennessee game in front of me. There were more passes to the backs and the tight ends in that game because of what Tennessee's defense was giving up. You can't cover everything.
How would you grade the offensive line?
Oh boy, I'd have to give them a very good grade.
Yeah, there were a couple of breakdowns, which is going to happen.
Sure,
you know.
But I mean, it's such a revolving door with the offensive line. Now,
and it's going to be again.
Yeah, Legursky, we're not sure of his availability for this week with a dislocated toe.
What was the note coming into the game? That was the 6th different offensive line combination that they have used so far this year.
Could be going.
It could be 7.
6 games.
Yeah,
they've only played 6 games, so they haven't had a solid
that's
group
just amazing.
up front the whole.
There's no
season.
truth to the rumor that Highmark Blue Shield will not insure Steeler offensive linemen.
No, but for the most part, I mean, when you look at the running game, the running stats, it's hard to argue with it. I mean, you know, a 5.8 yard average for the team. Now, of course, that does include the
68-yard run. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
but still, I mean, you have to count that. I mean, you can't.
Oh, you can't throw it out.
Although Mike Wallace was giving Richard a little bit of problems because of his perceived lack of speed compared to Mike Wallace. I'm sure he is pretty slow.
There aren't too many guys on the team that can run with Mike.
No. I would say probably 0 would be the number. You know,
but you know, it was good. It's just that they sort of took that away from him in the second half. They weren't able to get any.
I'm not willing to quite give them that they took it away from them.
Maybe the Steelers took it away from themselves.
Well, you know what? You know, they didn't have many plays.
I wonder how many plays they did have in the second. It wasn't that many.
No. Got 3 at the end, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So
10 plays.
10 plays in the third quarter.
Counting a punt.
Yeah.
And excuse me. And in the fourth quarter, it was a lot of ugly football. Just looking, you had a 3 and out. You had a 3 and out, basically, with some penalties thrown in. You had a 3 and out, and they got 1 first down, and that's what Coach Tomlin alluded to. They were able to make the first down when they needed it most. Didn't run out the clock. Were not able to run out the clock, but they did possess the ball through the 2-minute warning, which is a key. You want to, you obviously want to run it all off, but the other team has a rookie quarterback who had produced 1 touchdown off of the aforementioned 17-play drive, but when you get it under 2 minutes, let the rookie quarterback go out there, and Jacksonville still almost pulled it out. I mean, that ball isn't knocked down in the end zone.
The problem with that play was, and they were screaming about it afterwards. I was talking to Twinch and some other guys that said he didn't wait for his receivers to get in the end zone. He's the only people who were back there were Steelers at that point. He threw it to 3 Steelers.
Yeah, they had a bit of a head start.
Yeah, they had a bit of a head start.
There on the snap.
Yeah, they were back there on the snap. He says, but at least wait till you get somebody in the end zone before you throw it down there. But that, a win is a win, and that's the best thing you can say. There were some good things. There are some question marks coming into this week. What's Polamalu going to be like? What's the line going to be like? Mm-hmm. And they certainly need to improve their play going out to Arizona, because Arizona is going to be
they'll be ready. Yeah, and it's something else that Coach Tomlin said after the game is that I believe to be true is, it's a lot better to look back and analyze this when it's a win. I mean, you have to realize you didn't play well. If you watch the tape, you'll realize you didn't play particularly well.
It's funny you should say that, because Craig Wolfley, who played, he said that this is a game that coaches love, because you won the ball game and there were some positive things, but there were enough negative things that the coaching staff can get in your ear.
Yeah, film session and practice next week are going to be incredible.
Right.
And we're just about out of time here, George. I wonder if there's any other quick notes we can glean here from the thing. Anything else stick out to you?
Not really. I thought it was interesting, as bad as the teams played at some points, no turnovers.
No, right, yeah.
It wasn't a turnover in the game.
You know what, and that's incredibly impressive, I think, with the rookie quarterback from Jacksonville's perspective. To come through this game without any turnovers is a plus for them, and perhaps maybe a negative for the Steelers, but hey, I guess they'll have to be content with just taking a win and hoping to learn from the mistakes they made in the second half of Sunday's ball game.
Stick that one in your pocket and move on.
Yep. 4-2, headed to the desert. And with that, we are out of time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time.